Welcome back to 32 Team Madden 2012 franchise, and we are officially done with the regular season. And we're going to look at the Week 17 scores and stats, and then there will be individual videos on every team recapping their season, 32 videos recapping their seasons. And the playoffs won't come till later. I have to get a bunch of other stuff done. But let's get into the score. So we have Brown Steelers. Sucky teams in a sucky game. It was snowy in Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh gets the win. They avoid the sweep. And Cleveland finishes the year 2-14, while Pittsburgh goes 5-11. Um, Not much to talk about. It was a snow game. You see a lot of running the football there. But yeah, disappointing year for Pittsburgh. First losing season under Mike Tomlin. First losing season in a long time. And Cleveland uh, finishes 2-14. We'll have the first overall pick in the draft. Houston, Indianapolis. Indianapolis loses this game at home, and Houston will be the 3 seed, finishing 11-5, just under their win total of 12 preseason. Uh, Indy finishes 8-8, which is better than they expected. Bruce Arians, with the interim head coach, goes 6-7 as head coach as the interim. Pretty good, pretty likely he's going to end up getting a head coaching job somewhere else. It just doesn't make sense for him really to return to the Colts. So he probably will be going elsewhere as a head coach. Where? We don't know yet. But Andrew Luck had an outstanding season under Bruce Arians, and he's going to be a very attractive candidate. Matt Schaub played really well in the final game of the year. Kobe Fleener played extremely well, already submitting himself as one of the best tight ends in football after his rookie season. J.J. Watt really good, but disappointing end for Indy. They lost like 6 of their final 8 or something like that. It was bad, and they kind of collapsed down the stretch, missed the playoffs, but Bruce Arians will still be a hot commodity. Tampa Bay, Atlanta. 56-15, Tampa Bay loses. This game was insane. Matt Ryan threw 7 touchdowns. Mind you, Tampa Bay played their starters the whole game. And so did Atlanta. Obviously, Atlanta was playing for a playoff spot. Matt Ryan was trying to clinch the MVP, and boy, did he. He clinched it with his performance. But Tampa Bay played their starters the whole game and lost by 41. So maybe that's a sign of what's going to come in the playoffs, where Tampa Bay has to play the Falcons again. So this will be the third matchup they're playing. It's been 1-1, and these two teams play in the wild card. Matt Ryan throws 7 touchdowns and 436 yards. Josh Freeman throws 4 interceptions. A perfect game for Matt Ryan. Jaquiz had a good game. Julio was outstanding. Mike Williams caught one for Tampa Bay. Tony Gonzalez, which could be his last season, his last regular season game, ends in a good one. Roddy Wright and James Rogers all had good games, but Atlanta was playing for the playoffs, playing for the chance to have an MVP, and they were able to do that with a 56-15 win. So they'll be playing football in January. New York Buffalo. Buffalo also playing for the playoffs. They win and they're in. They get in. Ryan Fitzpatrick has an amazing game. Mark Sanchez not so much. The Jets are expected to retain head coach Rex Ryan after a disappointing 5-11 season, but he will remain general manager. Mike Tannenbaum is questionable to return, and we will find that out as the days progress. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Jacksonville ends the season on a high note, beating Tennessee. Tennessee completely collapsed in the second half of the year. They will be in the quarterback market this offseason. Chad Henne, a good game. This game probably wasn't enough. The late 2 wins in the year probably isn't enough to save Mike Mularkey's job. It is more than likely that he is going to be fired, and Jacksonville will be looking for a new head coach. A couple names to watch for this if they do end up firing their head coach is um, Bill O'Brien, who's the Penn State head coach, and Dirk Koetter. They want someone who can get a lot out of this offense, which is very, very disappointing this year. Detroit, Chicago. Detroit has a really bad end of the year with their quarterback getting hurt. But Kellen Moore did play well, and it's going to be interesting if he is a hot name for teams wanting to go out because his stats were pretty good. Jay Cutler's amazing game, but the Bears win the division, and they will be playing in the wild card. They were the 3 or the 4 seed. Oh, no, they are the 3 seed. Tampa Bay is the 4 seed, I want to say. Um, I think I can't really remember. Um, but yeah, good game from Chicago. And Lovie Smith, real life got fired. He will not be fired here. Baltimore, Cincy needed a win and help to get into the playoffs. They did their part. They got the win against Baltimore's backups. Baltimore's benched their offensive starters because they already clinched the 1 seed, and this game meant nothing. Tyrod Taylor 2 picks, Andy Dalton good game. So we'll find out if the Bengals will get in. But this is something they needed. They needed a win to get in, and now they need some help. But a big win over the division rivals to hopefully get themselves to the playoffs. Carolina, New Orleans. Both these teams are playing for the chance to finish with an 8-8 record, and the Saints end up doing that. Great game from both quarterbacks, and you got to feel for the Panthers because that team's probably most likely good chance they're playing playoff football if Cam Newton never gets hurt, and they don't have to start Derek Anderson for those 3 games. Philly, New York. Philly played their starters and had an amazing because they were still playing for the 1 seed. They won and got the 1 seed. Philly played their starters, got the 1 seed. New York was playing for an 8-8 record. Michael Vick with those 5 touchdowns, and he is really good. He won't win the MVP just because of how good Matt Ryan's season was, but Michael Vick's first time in his career playing a full 16 games, although he did get hurt in the one where Nick Foles came in early in the season. But he played in every single game this season and was terrific. Those 5 touchdowns to clinch up the 1 seed. Andy Reid came in this year on the hot seat, and if they had a repeat of last season or an 8-8 record, Jeffrey Lurie said an 8-8 record wouldn't fly. They go 14-2, the best team in the NFL, the best record. Andy Reid's going to be the coach of the year. A great season for Philadelphia, and they have the 1 seed, and the NFC goes through Philly. Oakland, San Diego, winner of this was playing for 3rd place in the division. Whoever won became 3rd. It was the Chargers. Chargers are expected to move on from Nerve Turner and general manager AJ Turner. Or I think that's his name. Raiders are expected to retain what's his name? Dennis Allen. Blank there. Almost said Hugh Jackson. That was the year previous. But pretty boring game. I simmed the second half of this one just because there was nothing there playing for. And this was the AFC West Championship game. Winner went to the playoffs. The loser had a chance. Romeo Crennel and this Chiefs team over. In real life, they went 2-14. Romeo Crennel was fired, and obviously they hired Andy Reid. 4 years later, they got Patrick Mahomes, and the rest is history. But Romeo Crennel was going to keep his job. He finished 9-7, which was better than they were expected 7 or 8 wins. They get to 9. They were 1 game out of the NFL playoffs, a tiebreaker out of the playoffs. So Crennel will be retained. But Kansas City is going to be in the quarterback market. Names to watch are Alex Smith. Alex Smith was traded to Kansas City in real life. He could in this. Matt Kessel was really bad. I think he led the league in interceptions. He will not be their starting quarterback next year. Peyton Manning came to play. This Broncos offense was really good, and their offensive coordinator Mike McCoy is more than likely going to get a head coaching job somewhere. Just terrific things he did with Tim Tebow and Peyton Manning the past 2 years. And the Broncos, after a rocky start and kind of a rocky finish, will get into the playoffs with a 10-6 record and AFC West champions under Peyton Manning's first season. Green Bay, Minnesota, another win and get in. Minnesota won and they get in. Green Bay won and they got in. And Green Bay gets it done. Green Bay was down 13-3 going into the fourth, and Aaron Rodgers did Aaron Rodgers-esque things and was terrific in the second half. He wasn't great in the first half, but it was really good in the second half and gets the Packers into the playoffs as a 6 seed, as a wild card team. We know what happened last time they got in the playoffs as a wild card team. They hosted the Lombardi Trophy. This team went 15-1 last year, was eliminated by the Giants, who then went on to go win the Super Bowl. But Green Bay's in, and they could cause some trouble on the road. The Vikings finished a disappointing 9-7, losing. I think finishing the year they were 6-1. They were 6-1. They finished 9-7. They go 3-6 over their last 9. I'm pretty sure they were 6-1. And there are rumors that Leslie Frazier might be fired. Just they didn't like the way it finished. He hasn't been great and is now 2.5 years there. So we'll see what happens. This team really, really disappointed down the stretch and ended up missing the playoffs at 9-7. And Minnesota is not happy about it. They aren't. So we'll see what happens there. Miami, New England. New England wins 45-7. They played their backups in the second half. Tom Brady 3 touchdowns. Ryan Mallett a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill not great. Jeff Demps, good game. Shane Vereen got a touchdown. Stephen Ridley as well. Rob Gronkowski, a good game. Wes Welker, 104 on 4 catches. Edelman, 6 for 75. Aaron Hernandez caught a touchdown. Brandon Lloyd caught a touchdown. New England is the 2 seed. And will play the lowest remaining seed. And Miami had a chance at the playoffs if they would have won. But with everything that happened up to this point, as you can see, Cincinnati will be in the NFL playoffs. This is 6 seed. But Miami finishes the year 8-8, better than expected. Had a nice little win streak, like 4 or 5 game win streak before running into including beating New England. But New England finishes out 12-4, and a really good season for them. San Fran, Arizona. Ken Whisenhunt has been fired, to no one's surprise. So, and general manager, I don't remember his name, has been fired. They've cleared house. Gonna have a new staff in, and Brian Hoyer is gonna be interesting to see if they decide to retain him. He had a pretty quietly good year on one of the league's worst offenses. Colin Kaepernick, good game to end the season. Obviously, San Fran did not live up to expectations, and it's a big part of quarterback play. They are rumored to be in the quarterback market, whether through the draft or free agency. So we'll see what happens there. Colin Kaepernick, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. So 8-8 season for San Fran. Really disappointing year. And the game on a high note with 2 straight wins, including against Seattle. But they were Super Bowl favorite. They were top of the Super Bowl favorite list. And to lose like this, to go 8-8, not a good look. Jim Harbaugh will stay, but if they disappoint again next year, he could be out just like that. Rams, Seahawks when their game started, Philly had already won, Tampa Bay had already lost. This game meant nothing to them. They benched their starters. They are the 2 seed. They lose 33-18. They finished the year 12-4. Matt Flynn, 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. So not the Matt Flynn we saw when he threw 7 touchdowns. But yeah, just overall boring game. But really good season for the Seahawks with a rookie quarterback to finish 12-4, one of the league's best defenses. And they're going to be someone to watch in the playoffs. And both of their coordinators are hot commodities. Gus Bradley and Darrell Bevell, 2 guys that we could see get head coaching jobs. Dallas, Washington. Washington tried their best, but they lose. Dallas finishes 8-8. Washington finishes 3-13. New ownership has made a decision. Mike Shanahan and Bruce Allen, general manager and head coach, have been fired. They are clearing house. a majority of the staff has been let go as well, and they have their targets set on Bill O'Brien. It's between Bill O'Brien, who's Penn State's head coach. It's going to be. We don't know if Bill O'Brien's going to be ready to make the jump to the NFL after 1 year at Penn State, but they are locked on to Bill O'Brien. They're also really interested in the Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia and Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. Um, so they're interested in three Patriot people. Bill O'Brien was Patriots offensive coordinator last year. Josh McDaniels is interesting to see because while he did lead the league's top offense, he was head coach, 2, 3 years ago, and we all saw how that worked out. It wasn't great. But RG3, this is going to be a good job to take because you have RG3, but defense is bad. You don't have to work with Dan Snyder anymore. It's going to be, you know, well, Navy on the Night is online, but it's not going to be. You're not going to have to work with Dan Snyder. You're going to have to work with new ownership. Jarek, former governor, Taylor Swift and Vin Diesel. But um, disappointing end for Washington. Obviously, this team real life won the division, but Dallas finishes 8-8, just around where they are expected, as always under Jason Garrett. Washington finishes 3-13 and is clearing house. And this is the wild card matchups. Bengals Texans rematch of last year wild card. These two teams played this season previous. Packers Bears. That's going to be an amazing game. And these all shouldn't be at the same time. That's weird. All at 1 p.m. on Sunday and Saturday. Packers Bears, but yeah, that is a division matchup. Bills Broncos. Good game there. And then Falcons Buccaneers, which we just saw, and we saw what happened, but this time it's in Tampa Bay. And last time these two teams played in Tampa Bay, I want to say it was week 12, and Tampa Bay won in overtime. So we know Atlanta can hang with Tampa Bay. They gave them a run for their money and almost swept them. But they we just saw what happened the week previous. Get a look into the standings. Just take a quick look. Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns, Texans, Colts, Titans, Jags, Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Bears, Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bucks, Falcons, Saints, Panthers, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, Cardinals. So that is the end of the regular season. The playoffs will come later. I got to get, head coaching jobs, general manager. I got to make the individual videos for every single team. So the playoffs won't come until a while. But that is the end of the regular season. Week 17. There it is. End of the season.